Welcome to ICA Sports with myself, Jared Kimber, and with me I have two of cricket's greatest ever 40-year-olds. Not that I'm saying they're that age anymore. One of them may not be, but certainly one is. But two men that played well beyond the normal physical capacity of a human cricketer. I'm talking about Pakistan's Misbah Haq and Australia's Brad Hogg. And Pakistan came back, Misbah. And they did. I'm going to go out there and let's start with the most important news line from this game. They stayed at the rate. They stayed ahead of the rate for a lot of that chase. They scored early. They must have been listening to you on YouTube yesterday.
No, I wasn't the only one who was just talking about this. There was all going through in the media, and obviously the commentators were just saying the same thing. So when there is so much criticism, obviously from somewhere you got that when you are playing, and obviously as a player, as a top class cricketer, as a team, you analyze yourself also after the game, where what went wrong in the previous game. And I'm happy that Pakistan obviously analyzed their game very well, especially in the batting department, and all credit to the top three, the way they played. I think normally, Imam takes time, but the way he batted in the last game, that was a treat to watch. And then obviously Babar Azam, the way he batted, right from the word go, they just put pressure on Australian bowlers. And especially what I already mentioned, that during the Test series, Pakistan allowed Australian spinners to dominate and let them bowl. But in yesterday's game, they just pressed the pedal, put pressure on them, and look, they just actually went after them, and it looked like it's a pretty ordinary bowling attack at time, and easily they just scored those runs, which wasn't an easy target. I mean, 348 on any sort of pitch is tough. And I think full credit to the top three. And then obviously Hushil Shah, the way he just finished the game. But I think it was a treat to watch, especially Imam and Babar. I mean, the way they batted against the Spain pace, took their chances, early boundaries in every over. And they haven't just let the Australian bowlers basically settle down. And this is how you play. I mean, cricket in those conditions where you are chasing anything above six. I mean, you're chasing 300 plus runs. You have to hit boundaries, and you have to basically look for boundaries every over. So I'm pretty happy from Pakistan's batting performance. They need to improve still in their bowling department, because I personally think that they are giving away too many runs, despite the pitch was very good. But still, I believe they could have restricted Australia somewhere around 300.
People talk about 300 being par score, but I think in one-day cricket at the moment, it's about 275 is par score. So 348 is obviously well beyond that. So it is worth, even on a flat pitch, saying what a monumental chase this was. Hoggy, we've seen Babar Azam be incredible for a long time. I wrote a piece a couple of years ago about the best shots in cricket, and everyone was upset that Babar Azam, I didn't pick any of his shots. And I was like, that's because all of his shots are pretty, right? There's no specific shot that he's prettier than other people. Yesterday, according to Cricinfo, he played 5 false shots in a one-day 100. That's next level, isn't it?
Oh, look, it's next level, and he's up there, or he's going to be one of the greats when he finishes his career. He's still got a bit of work to do, because I still think he can do a lot more out Test cricket. And I mean, if he wants to push himself to be a Kohli or a Stephen Smith at the moment out Test level, so there's still some records to be broken by Babar Azam moving forward. But he's going to be able to do that. He's leading the team well under pressure. I'm very happy with the way that he's playing, and every time he comes out to bat, you want to watch him, because he's so elegant hitting the ball down the ground. But the thing is too, you talk about spin. He was putting pressure on the spin with a few slog sweeps, and he was hitting them off a good length as well. Now, as a spinner, you take that's putting pressure on you. He's hitting you off a good length. He's not getting quite to the pitch of the ball, but he's comfortably hitting you off a good length, and he's not trying to overhit it, but just getting that boundary with that particular shot, taking a little bit of a risk. All of a sudden, you've got the stress ball out as a spinner out the top of your mark, just going, calm down, just relax. He had to take a risk there, try and keep it on a good length. And that's what I noticed about him yesterday. Yeah, you've got all the elegant shots, but he is willing to take a risk. And I just want to make a point about Emil Haq out the other end, the left-handed bat. He had a little bit of a risk there against Travis Head. There was a little outside edge that he got away with. I think it was late in his innings, just before he got to 100. I love this bloke. I reckon he, how can I put it? He could be a legend in the game of cricket. But I think he just gets a little excited at certain stages in his innings. If he can just limit those moments, I think he could go to a next level as a cricketer, because there's so much talent there. He can play aggressive, he can play conservatively, but there's just little moments there where he gets a little excited. If he can just calm them back, all of a sudden he's going to turn those low scores into big scores, and he's going to have a lot more bigger scores. And I think he's got a lot to play for in Pakistan in the short form and the long form as well. I'm just seeing so much improvement in his game.
Misbah, you're the king of not getting excited. Is that something that you've noticed in Imam as well?
Yeah, I think he is that sort of person. But the thing I liked about his batting uh, yesterday's game, that was his intent against spinners. Because normally he doesn't take those sort of risks against the spinners. But the way he was just going for those big shots, he's not a six hitter, but he was willing to just take those risks, and he cleared the boundary, and especially inside out shots and going over mid off. Those were some shots, and he was also just going after Travis Head, slog sweeps, which is a shot which he currently, developed, and he was reluctant to play those shots uh, in the recent past. Even in the last game, he wasn't taking those sort of risks. But once you start playing these shots, that gives you so many options. And the spinners, as Hoggy said, if as a spinner you are thinking, you know that he's going to sweep me, he's going to use his feet, he will not just basically basically he will hit me over mid over or mid over for a six also, then you are under pressure. Then you definitely give him some balls to cut or some balls down the leg side, because you are under pressure as a spinner. And then singles becomes very easy for you. So I think he needs to just keep going like that. He's a senior pro, already so many hundreds, average is about 50. Nothing to worry. Go there if the team is chasing 350. Chase chase that basically run rate. Don't let this run rate go up to 9 or 10. And don't worry about just getting out on and in certain games, because in the first game, we even before start chasing the target, we were so much behind the game when we were chasing. In 20, after 20 overs, the required rate was already 9 plus, and two of your main batters were playing. This is not how you just chase down targets more than 300. Go there, you are confident enough, your all average is already 50, you are a very good player, you got so many hundreds. Just back yourself, and don't put your remaining batters or rest of the batting lineup under pressure, and try to just be there at the run rate which is required to just chase that total. So that was very good in the previous game, that they were chasing actual target. I was just trying to be there throughout the inning.
Hoggy, I just wanted to talk about Fakhar Zaman, because he makes it better for those other two guys because essentially they want to hit at around a runner ball, right? We know that they can both put their foot down if they want to, but because Fakhar Zaman does attack more and that's his natural game, he gives them a little bit more freedom. So he's not going to get the credit for this because the other two have made the hundreds and put on the huge partnership that broke the game. But really, his 67 is what helped them be able to keep with that rate when both of them first came to the crease.
Yeah, well, you always need that aggressive partner up the top, and I think he complements both to his opening partner and the number 3 and the rest of the order as well. But if he gets off to a flying start, you're going to win most games and put you in a comfortable position. When he got out, they were just above 6 and over. I think they were around about 7 and over, and he's the main impetus that's keeping that run rate around 7.5 and over. I think the highest the run rate got was 7.9, and that's very good on a run chase of chasing 350. And Imam brought up a good point there. You've got to have a positive attitude. And for youngsters out there that are watching the show, you can have nervous energy, but that nervous energy can be exciting energy or it can be negative energy. And I've just been down watching the Shield game here at WA here, and I was with Adam Gilchrist, and we're talking about what did you find easy, opening the batting or batting down the order in Test cricket? And he said opening the batting because you're out there. But when I was playing Test cricket, when wickets were falling, I batted better when I went out in the middle because I wasn't sitting there waiting. That nervous energy that's in your mind, I wasn't going through the innings. I wasn't going through those negative thoughts. So when you're sitting there batting, you've got to try and keep those positive thoughts going. And I think that's what the way Pakistan played the other night or last night. They were aggressive. They were positive. They weren't thinking about the negative. And it's a lesson for youngsters out there that are watching the show, that are aspiring to play international cricket. Make sure you train your mind when you're nervous, try and turn it into positive energy, and you're excited to go out there and take on the challenge rather than look at it with the negative side and the fear about what's coming ahead of you. And I think that's what Fakhar Zaman does when he goes out to bat. There's no fear when he's on song, and he puts bowlers under pressure out the top of the order, and as you said, he makes it easier for the other batsmen around him.
And one more thing I want to add. For Imam, that in Pakistan, whenever he goes into bat, there is a lot of pressure on him. Being a nephew of Inzamam Haq, I think that's something which people always associate with him, and in negative way. He performed so much for Pakistan. I mean, he just scored a lot of runs in the Test series, and he's already, 9 centuries in a very short period of time. But still, whenever he goes in, a lot of criticism on him, and that's, I think, sometimes put him under that sort of pressure that you may think that he is sometimes a little bit scared of just taking those risks, because if he doesn't perform, doesn't score runs, heavy criticism on him. When he's free, when he's already had runs on his in his bag, then he can bat like he did in the yesterday's game. So sometimes I think his performance been affected by that criticism. But to me, he's such a good player. He should back himself, go there when he can just play freely. He'll be more beneficial for Pakistan team.
Yeah, it's definitely it cuts both ways being related to a legend in the game. It gives you a lot of opportunities, and then everyone doesn't like the fact that you have a lot of opportunities. And even when you make the runs, they remember that. So he's batting against a shadow, a very big shadow, of course, in more ways than one. When we talk about Inzi and his impact in Pakistan cricket. I just want to talk about Saeed Mahmood, Hoggy, just for a moment with you. Both games, he's really struggled at the start of his spells. He's not a young leg spinner at all. Not as experienced at the international level as some of the other leg spinners that we someone like Zampa. Both times he struggled at the start of his spell and brought it back. How much is that is just basic nerves, or is there a technical issue there you've noticed?
Look, I think it's just nerves. I think he's got a fair bit of ability, but all leg spinners, whether you're playing, I think this was a secret with Shane Warne. He had so many revs on the ball. It wasn't just about the turn and bounce. It was about the drift and drop. The drift is very important because that's where you can play with the batsman's footwork. And if there's not much there to help you on the pitch, that drift is going to keep you in the game. But look, I think he's got a lot of fight about him. And when he's able to come back into those spells, it just shows that he's got something about him with courage, with mindset, and he wants to be in that contest. So for me, I had those issues early on in my career as well. Very nervous with the first couple of overs. And once I got hit for a couple of fours or boundaries, all of a sudden I felt, right, I've got to get in there. Otherwise, I'm out the back door. So for me, he's just got to find a way to be able to say, right, I'm not getting off to a good start. How can I change my mindset, or what do I have to do before I mark my run up for the first time to bowl that first over? What's the ball that I can go to, or that I can bowl 6 balls in that first over to give me confidence in this one-day game at international level? Once he does that and he nails it a couple of times, then it's just going to become easier for him, and then all of a sudden he can bowl the wrong and then the variations from the third ball in his spell. So for me, it's all about mindset that he's got to change when he starts his spell. But I'm very impressed with what he's got. He's fairly quick through the air. He gets a bit of drop, and he's prepared to slow it up as well. But he's also prepared to make the right-handers reach as well. So I like the mythology that he goes about his bowling as well. So I think there's a lot of upside there. And if he comes over to Australia, I think he can get that extra bounce that you need over here in Australian conditions. So for me, I think he'd be a good find and a very good bowler to bowl in the Western conditions.
Hoggy, what did you think of Ben McDermott's batting?
Oh, look, I think he's very impressive. He came out under pressure. Shaheen Afridi was on song. He just got Aaron Finch out, and just to be able to handle that pressure and move forward. Again, it's just great to see a young man get an opportunity and take it, or take the bull by the horns, what we'd say over here in Australia. But I'm just impressed with the way that he sets himself up. If there's a bowler that's he's struggling against, he's not prepared to take those risks. He's prepared just to play a little bit more conservatively. If the ball's there, he'll try and put the pressure on the bowler. But playing spin, he can use his feet coming down, but I love the sweep shots that he's got, because he reaches out, gets to the pitch of the ball, and he makes you bowl a shorter length where he can get on the back foot as well. So he's attacking the bowler, and he's not showing any fear. And
Stoinis made runs in this game and hit the ball quite well. Also bowled a couple of overs. Obviously, we know that Cameron Green's been quite good. You could argue that Cameron Green not bowling at the death maybe is the reason Australia didn't quite get over the line. Those overs restrictions didn't really help them when it came to Cameron Green. And we know that Mitch Marsh could come back. 3 right arm seamers. Slightly different seamers, but all 3 right arm seamers, all of which you can probably bat between numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, if at worst case scenario. Is it possible that Australia could have I don't know what we'd call it, a 3-headed middle order slogging medium pace attack based on those 3 guys? You're probably not getting more than 15 to 20 overs a game out of them, but because they can all hit as well, that's a pretty good sort of base to, look at the rest of your lineup around, isn't it?
Yeah, well, definitely. It depends where you're playing. If you're playing in Australia or England or even South Africa, you would think about having that combination. But I think Travis Head isn't going to open the batting when David Warner comes back.
Hoggy, 1-1, deciding game. What do you think is going to happen?
1-1. I think Pakistan will win the toss and bat second again in the final match. I think Australia will be a little bit more aggressive in the back end, and I think they'll get over the line. So when I say they're more aggressive with the bat, and probably get 350 plus. And I don't think Pakistan will be good enough to chase that down in the third attempt.
I mean, to be honest, chasing it down once is pretty good. Misbah, we have seen the first 2 games follow a similar pattern, other than the fact that Australia made slightly more in the second game and Pakistan batted slightly better. is it worth one of the teams, flipping the switch a little bit and, changing when they bat and when they bowl, or should they both continue with what they're doing?
Yeah, I think, as Hoggy said, if Australia will bat first, they will definitely be looking to score something more than 348, because it depends on the pitch also. I mean, in the first game, I personally think the pitch was a little bit more slower than the second one. Yesterday's pitch was better than the first one. That's why batsmen just felt it easy to score against spinners. Ball wasn't the stopping that much, and even the reverse swing was not like it was in the first game. So it will definitely depend in the third game how dry the pitch is. But I think uh, personally, I personally think that Australia missed the chance by not just defending 348 in the second game. Now it will be slightly difficult for them to just beat Pakistan in the third game, because Pakistan obviously I thought were a little bit relaxed in the first game, that okay, their main players are not there and we're going to just win it easily, and we're going to score these runs even when they were just chasing the total. Now they know, and they will try to just come hard right from the start, and still they haven't bowled the best. They haven't bowled the best. So I think they need to improve their performance, especially in their bowling department, and hopefully, what I'm feeling that maybe in the next game they are going to be a bit better in their bowling department, and that will give them slightly more edge on Australia in the third game.
Imam Haq will make another 100.
My favorite bit, Hoggy, was when you predicted who would win the toss, which was an unnecessary thing for you to suggest. But that's the kind of analysis you get here on ICA Sports, people.
You got to be different.
I think Pakistan have won two tosses, so now it's Australia's time to win the toss. And if Australia wins the toss, if Australia bowls first, then uh, that will be slightly a challenge for Pakistan, because recently Pakistan, even in the T20, has been not that good in setting targets. Because in the second game, we know that we are chasing 348. That is going to be a thing which we love to watch. If Pakistan bats first, what is going to be their approach? And that is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think for both teams, flipping what they're doing would be quite good, because Australia wants to know what this young team is going to do, right? When they are chasing rather than setting this total. And for Pakistan, we know that they're very good. Babar Azam is one of the better chasing players in the world. We know he struggled in that first game, but certainly came back in this one. So it would help both teams if they could get a bit, change up the script, I would have thought.
Oh, definitely, because you're preparing for a World Cup in a couple of years' time. So, next year. So you want to make sure that you put yourself in different situations and try and expose yourself to those situations that you're not as strong with. So for Australia, that will be chasing. For Pakistan, that will be setting a total. So you're quite right there. If you win the toss, don't worry about the series as much. Put yourself under pressure to try and prepare for a World Cup, where you could be exposed a little bit more in those situations.
Pakistan is not going to do that. If Pakistan wins the toss, they will bowl.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. John Buchanan coached during that particular period of time, leading into the World Cups. It was 2 years out where they were preparing a team for the different scenarios and different situations, and that's the type of preparation that you've got to have before a World Cup comes up. It's not about winning series; it's about winning World Cups. So I think that will be Australia's approach. So they'll do something different if they win the toss.
But Hoggy, one more thing I want to add in terms of chasing now, because one day cricket, the change of the rules, especially 1 to 10 overs, it's a power play, and then from 11th to 40th over, it's again a power play, and it's a long power play of almost 30 overs, because batters have the option of hitting a boundary every over because of that extra fielder in the circle, and that basically puts defending a total slightly becomes difficult in that sort of scenario, because the team batting second, normally the teams are very good. They have the depth in their batting lineup. They have those different shots now because of the T20 cricket. And once they know the target, then these flat pitches and restrictions just makes it so difficult for a defending team to even defend sometimes 8 and over, 7 and over throughout the inning. And that's why you just seeing that now 300 plus scores being chased more often.
Well, you're exactly right there. It's a lot easier in 50-over cricket to chase down those big totals. If you look at, one-day cricket, you're trying to keep under 8 and over as long as you possibly can in that run chase. In T20 cricket, if you've got 15 runs and over with 4 overs to go, you're going to back yourself to get those runs. So different formats are creating different aspects of the game, and that's one thing that cricket followers have really got to admire with the way that these guys are playing. Keeping 8 runs and over the whole game through is quite tough for a batting team. It's up to the bowling team to try and prevent those boundaries and not be greedy trying to chase the wickets. And yeah, as a mindset as a bowler, you want to try and create those chances of wickets, and the only way to do it is to prevent the boundaries. And I think that's the mindset you've got to have with you as a bowler when you've got the total to defend.
And also, Hoggy, I think with the bowler's mindset, you can just basically say something on that, because I personally believe, being a captain, the one way of basically keeping that run rate low is, and that is, I personally think, is the only way, if the pitches are that good. Just keep taking wickets, and you need a lot of attacking bowlers in your team who can take wickets up front. In the middles, you need to have those sort of spinners. That's why now Chinaman and wrist spinners, leg spinners, they are who can turn the ball both ways, and good sliders are more in T20 cricket also, because that is the only way to stop a position from scoring runs. Otherwise, if the batters are in, no matter, like you already mentioned, 15 and over, even in the last 4 overs, if two set batsmen or even one good batsman is there, mostly we back batting team to win that game. So I think that is very important for Pakistan. That's why I just keep on emphasizing on that you have another leg spinner. You have a genuine left-arm spinner who is a wicket taker. He normally bowls with the new ball in the middle overs. Even he can bowl at the death, very good Yorkers. So I think Pakistan needs to play another bowler. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to chase down 348 or 350 runs every day.
Yeah, you can't have 2 part-time bowlers in your team in a one-day game. You've got to have at least 4 frontline bowlers.
Yeah.
But having said that, you should also, let's just think of how glorious it is that we're watching a series with 3 wrist spinners in it. If we can fit a 4th in, I'm all for it. The more wrist spin, the better. Not left arm kind, obviously, but the proper kind with the right arm. But thank you to everyone for joining us on ICA Sports here on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you're finding this. Remember, we're going to be here for the whole series, so we'll be back for the next game as well. Probably turn up for the T20. Myself, Jared Kimber, Brad Hogg, Ms. Haq. As I said at the top of the show, 2 of cricket's greatest ever 40-year-olds. See you next time.